Well, our next guest claiming Christie is running in 2024 to stop President Trump from prosecuting his friend, Christopher Wray.
Joining us now, branding advisor and author of Intro Branding, the Keystone of Corporate Agility, Marc Rudov, and back again, Bill Spadia. Do we have a tweet here? Because it says react to tweet, and unless I'm going to act like a bird, here we go.
Oh,
all right, there's Marc's tweet. As why is loser Chris Christie running to stop Donald Trump in 2024 to shield corrupt best friend forever, Christopher Wray, from Trump's prosecution in 2025? So start, Marc, with what he would be prosecuted for.
Well, Christopher Wray has been a very corrupt head of the FBI, and Trump has said he's going to take off the gloves if he comes back to be president in 2024. And Chris Christie is not going to become president, and he knows that. He's there as a political assassin to do Christopher Wray's bidding, because Christopher Wray would be, don't forget, almost a year ago on August 8th, Christopher Wray's goons raided Mar-a-Lago, and Trump's never going to forget that. And the thing is that Christie and Christopher Wray, they go back 20 years when they worked at the Department of Joe. And 10 years ago, and Bill, you would know about this, Bridgegate, Chris Christie probably would have gone to prison, but Chris Wray was his personal lawyer and lost Chris Christie's cell phone that had incriminating evidence on it that would have sent Christie away. So he's there as a political assassin to try to take out Trump. Now, there's another thing that's very important here. When Chris Wray worked at King and Spalding before becoming head of the FBI, at the recommendation of Chris Christie, by the way, when he was at King and Spalding, he represented Gazprom and Rosneft, two big Russian oil companies, which were trying to broker a deal with China. And guess who was facilitating that deal? Hunter Biden. So Chris Wray is like this with the Bidens and like this with Chris Christie.
Okay.
And the worst nightmare is for Trump to become president and to come back.
All right, Bill Spadia, you're on.
Well, a lot to unpack there. I would say that you're missing, though, one of the big points that Chris Christie is running because Chris Christie sees a pathway to the White House. I mean, let's face it, this race, for Ron DeSantis, he expected that Trump would have imploded by now, and he didn't. Now we've got a race for second, and there's no doubt, if you look at the polling, you look at the fact that Chris Christie is now going to be on the debate stage on August 23rd, he has a path. And with all due respect, I mean, I know Chris Christie. He is a man that believes he has a vision for the country. You may not like the vision, you may not agree with him, but he certainly has an opportunity. And if he comes in second in New Hampshire, the entire race changes. I think you're looking at it at a very, very narrow vision where we've got a whole quilt and we're looking at one piece of it. And just the fact that Christie recommended Wray, there are a lot of people that won't forgive Chris Christie for that. I'm not a fan of Wray at all. And Trump, absolutely. Look, Trump should have been tougher in his first term. I think a lot of this is a lot of talk. He should have fired a lot of people before the election in 2020. May have had a different outcome.
Marc.
Well, thank you, Bill. There's a lot to unpack in what you just said. First of all, I'm not missing anything. And if you go back through my history, you'll see that most of my predictions have come true. There's no path for Chris Christie to become president, except if he lies down and rolls and tries to make a path. But nobody's going to vote for a guy who looks like that and who acts like that. Today, he was on Twitter challenging Trump to a cage match. I mean, the guy is not going to become president. He's only there to prevent Trump from becoming president.
Yeah, some people think he's there to try to take out Trump, be the guy.
That's what I just
nobody
said.
else wants to do that. But let me just point out among the things Marc is saying. By the way, the bulk of what you're saying are allegations, not confirmed, which you have a right to put out your theories out there. But a lot of what you're saying are allegations and not proven. Just wanted to make sure that that was clear. Bill. Hang on, Marc. We're going to let Bill talk.
But Marc, you know, I mean, the personal slight to Christie aside, I mean, I think that once an argument devolves into a personal attack, you lose credibility. The reality is that if you take a look at this, that on any given Tuesday, in any given November, anyone can rise to the occasion and win an election. And if you look at what's happening in New Hampshire right now, the battle is on as Chris Christie doesn't need Donald Trump to falter. He needs Ron DeSantis to falter, and that's starting to happen. We are way, way far from the first votes being cast. A lot's going to happen. It is July. A million things happen in politics. And I also think that for the reality of Chris Christie's time as a two-term governor in New Jersey, there are a lot of things you can fault him with. He and I had major battles over the gas tax. We had battles over how the party was not being built. But the reality is that Bridgegate was a great story for the national press. In New Jersey, did not have the same impact that I think you're playing it to be now.
Final thought, Mark. Final thought.
The Bridgegate is the reason that Trump did not make Christie his VP. It is the reason. And say what you want about Chris Christie, but even he can do math. He can look at the polls. He knows he's not going anywhere. Vivek Ramaswamy is way ahead of him. Chris Christie has no chance. I'm going to stick to what I said. He's there for one reason, to stop Trump from becoming president, to protect Wray, and to protect the Bidens.
I, for one, look forward to Christie being out there and fighting. I think he's going to make it interesting.
It's going to be great. I mean, buy tickets to that.
Said he would not fire Wray.
I'm going to get the popcorn for that.
I hope Trump shows up. I do. I think he should.
I mean, right. Yeah. Christie and Trump in a debate would be definitely excellent.
Yeah, I'd love to see them both on stage. And that's going to be the hard thing, I think, for Mr. Trump, is watching Christie and others pick on him, and he's not there to defend himself.
Well, that's a good point,
and I would just say, just knowing Chris Christie, I mean, you're talking about a guy with an ego, a guy that has the ego to say, I can run for and maybe even win the presidency. Yeah. He's not carrying water for anybody. He's doing this because he believes he can get the job done.
All right,
Support him or not.
There you go. All right, Marc Rudov, great insight as always. Appreciate it.